Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering how to find someone to write my book. Choosing the right person to help you could make or break your project. And following these tips could save you lots of time, money, and stress. By the end of this video, you will learn the importance of due diligence when hiring someone to help you with your book. How to find people in your current network, and great places to find a ghostwriter who can help you. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a free opportunity. Let's dive in. If you've been in business long enough, you probably have experiences of the wrong hire, of making the wrong hire, of being in an office with someone who was the wrong hire. And you always wonder, what steps did they take to get there? What steps did the hiring manager take when making this decision? You know, did they follow their gut? Did they hire based on impulse? Did they really dig deep to find the right person? You know, it's always a question mark. And I think it's important to keep those elements in mind as you consider hiring someone to help you write your book. You know, there's so much due diligence that's needed in this process. The due diligence to make sure that you're making the right hire, the due diligence to follow your gut, the due diligence to understand exactly what services you need, and really just making sure that this is the right fit for you. When thinking about hiring someone to write your book, think about your network, think about your connections, think about the people that you have connected with on LinkedIn, on social media, in person. There's probably people in your network who have experience writing books in some capacity. You could probably reach out to them and see what their tips are. Maybe they know somebody. Maybe they can connect you with someone. You know, it's always special when you can explore the connections that you've built over time, and the person that you're looking for, the ideal person, could be one connection away. When I think about this process, I go back about 6 months and think about a connection that I had from work about a decade earlier. And this work connection said, I know somebody who was looking for somebody, and they connected me with this other person. And that person connected me with a client of theirs who needed help writing essays. You know, and then essays turned into books. It's such a neat process to be able to mine your network to see what connections you have. You know, if there's authors that you know, ask them, reach out to them, see if they know anyone, see if they have experience. You know, another thing that you could do is look for LinkedIn connections. Look for ghostwriters or coaches on LinkedIn and see what connections you've built between each other. See if there's somebody there that can introduce you or has experience understanding this person and can make an introduction. You know, being able to find people in your network is such an awesome thing. It also creates a higher percentage of success because these are people who know people. You know, these aren't just people on the internet. These are actually people who have connected with others, who have experience talking to others. These are, you know, really warm connections. And you know, I find referrals and personal connections are a great way to connect with book professionals. If you're struggling to find somebody in your network, there's other places you can go to find people to write your book. They're typically branded as ghostwriters. That's what I go as online, a good ghostwriter. Ghostwriters is such a vague term sometimes, and the true role that somebody plays is kind of changing each project and each opportunity. But ghostwriters are typically the people who can help you write a book, and there's places that you can go to find them. One of those places is the Association of Ghostwriters. It's a group that I'm involved with. It's a great group, has a lot of great ghostwriters connected to it. And I've learned a lot from connecting with that group about how this process works, what this industry looks like, best practices, how to make projects succeed. I've learned a lot through my membership in the Association of Ghostwriters, and that's a great place to look. Another platform that authors typically seek out when trying to find ghostwriters is Gotham Ghostwriters. That's a great network with thousands of ghostwriters connected to it. I'll see pitches come through. I'm actually a member of that. And you know, I'll see pitches come through every week or two of these new exciting projects. And if you are interested, you can bid on them. Not bid on them. If you're interested, you can send a statement of interest and your background, and then the author gets to choose which of the applicants they want to talk to, and then they end up choosing one to work with. So it's a really neat process, and there's high quality projects in there. That's definitely a place that you can look when considering ghostwriters. LinkedIn is a go-to. There's lots of ghostwriters on LinkedIn. It's a great place to find professionals and find people who are interested in work and other opportunities. And I've found a lot of success with LinkedIn. I think it's great to be able to follow people on LinkedIn, to get their messages, to understand what they're all about, and to feel empowered to be able to work with them based on the messages that they're putting out. You know, the types of branding, the types of experience they're sharing, the types of perspectives they're writing about and posting about on LinkedIn. It gives you a glance of what they're bringing to the table, and it really is a great way to find high quality ghostwriters. Another great platform is one that I started with a fellow ghostwriter, Isabella Talbot. It's called Book This. It's bookthistalk.com. Sign up and you can get access to monthly meetings, free meetings. We talk about different topics in the writing space, ghostwriting space. It's a great way to connect with people and feel more comfortable in their experiences and their perspectives, and just awesome to be able to talk to authors, to talk to ghostwriters, to talk to coaches, and make sure that we're as strong as possible, to make sure that we're not missing anything, to make sure that we're making the most of this experience and staying up to date on every single thing that's happening in the book world. It's one thing to find a great ghostwriter, and it's another thing altogether to hire one. There really needs to be a process involved in this, and you really need to do your due diligence, do your digging, do your research. It's not enough just to find somebody, especially given the fact that if you hire a good ghostwriter, it's going to cost you lots of money. It's going to cost you, $25,000 to $30,000 for the full project. That's probably broken up into milestones or monthly payments. But even so, there's a high cost involved. And because of that, you want to make sure that you're moving forward with trust and confidence. And it really needs due diligence. So when you find a ghostwriter, meet with them, talk to them, find out what their process is like. Find out some of the ups and downs and the struggles they faced as a ghostwriter in telling clients stories. What does their typical process look like for meetings consistency? What does their process look like for meeting consistency? What does their process look like for deliveries of new content? Understanding those things and getting a feel for talking to this person is going to make you feel more confident about moving forward with them. Explore other books that they've written that are comparable to yours. Maybe they have experience writing similar types of stories that will really make you feel more comfortable saying yes. Those referrals and those conversations are going to help you really understand if this is for you. And this whole thing is really all about following your gut. Follow your gut, because a lot of times we don't follow our gut. We just say yes, yes, yes. We power through, we move forward, and then doubts creep in. The worst thing that can happen is you hire a ghostwriter that you don't quite feel like this is going to work out, but you give it a chance, and then a month or 2 months or 3 months down the road, things are stuck. Now what? Now what? Do you, break up in a sense with them? Do you tell them this isn't working? Do you fire them? It gets complicated. It's so much easier to explore those concerns at the beginning of the process, before you sign, before you work on contracts, before you, pay any money, before anything else. Make sure to do the digging beforehand and feel confident in that process. And if you do, it's going to make it feel better when you move forward. There's not going to be as many doubts. You're going to believe in the work that they're providing for you that's high quality. You're not going to have to worry about trust and worry about the ability for them to do the job and do it well. You don't want to have these things piling up and then a couple months later have to make a change, because making a change is a really difficult process. It's a really frustrating process. I've worked with lots of authors who ended up working with me after working with other ghostwriters because the other ghostwriter didn't work out. And it's maddening. It's a struggle. They're disenfranchised, they're frustrated, they're annoyed. They feel further away from their goal of publishing their book because the other ghostwriter didn't work out. I want you to avoid that as much as possible, and I want you to be able to move forward in confidence with whoever you choose. So do the due diligence, do the digging, talk to their references, read their materials, talk to them, get a feel for who they are, and the banter that you have between them, and trust your gut, because your gut is typically right. When I think about this process, I think about one client in particular, a business leader who reached out to me after his other ghostwriter didn't work out. The writing voice wasn't right. He didn't feel a connection with him. There were just all these things piling up, all these problems. You know, they were expecting more work to be done, and it wasn't getting done, and he was frustrated. He was angry. That anger was palpable, and it was real, and I could feel it during our first conversation, you know, to the point where I really wondered if this was going to be a good fit, because they were so disappointed. They were so disengaged and so crestfallen. And it took a little while to build back trust. It took a little while to, you know, to do little incremental steps, to do little pieces of work that helped them believe and trust the process again. And it was so special to be able to turn the corner and eventually get to a path of finishing the draft. And it was a really good draft. I was really proud of it. But it was a journey to get there. It was an emotional struggle. And I know that the author spent lots of money and lots of stress with a ghostwriter who wasn't the right fit for them. You know, I've never really asked them what their process looked like, and maybe I should, what their process looked like of hiring the first person. You know, I know they came with some good credentials and they were higher priced, you know, but it just didn't work out. And it was so disappointing for that client, for that business leader. You know, you think everything's going great and you have all these great ideas and you want to put them in a book, and then you hire somebody and it doesn't work out. And you just feel like this thing's further and further away. You know, so it was really great to be able to build back his confidence and help him finish his book and help him publish his book. You know, but it took a long time to get there. And if there's any way for you to avoid those struggles and that strife, I hope you can just take some of these messages to heart, because you don't want that. I don't want that. I don't wish that on anybody. It's not a good feeling, and you know, you want to be able to trust whoever you're working with. So make sure to take the right steps. If you want to learn more about finding someone to help you write your book, I might be able to help. Go to my website, goodghostwriter.com. You can click the link below, and you can schedule a free one-on-one strategy call with me. I'd love to talk to you about the challenges that you're facing, you know, the opportunities ahead, what the path forward could look like, you know, whether you end up wanting to work with me or wanting to work with another ghostwriter. I'd love to just help, you know, give you some perspective on what the journey looks like, what the path forward looks like, and empower you as you move forward in the process of writing and publishing your book. Remember, good ghostwriting makes great books. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.